So we'd like to welcome you on stage and to introduce you to Sylvie and Benoir, who are in charge of a big research project in Luxembourg, a public-private partnerships between LIST and Benoir, and I'm going to leave you to present this project together. Thank you.
Thanks, Berenice. The LIST has not a partnership with me, but with GoodYear. So I'm a part of GoodYear, not only for me. So, okay, so we are Sylvie and Benoit, and the next couple of minutes we will present you what is our partnership about. And then I think Sylvie will gonna start.
Yeah. Okay, so my name is Sylvie FROMENTIN. I'm program manager of this partnership with GoodYear. Project at LIST. LIST means Luxembourg Institute of Science and Technology. It's a leader in research and innovation in Luxembourg through the three main domains: materials, environment, and IT. How it started? LIST exists officially since 1st of January 15. It's a joint venture, in kind of joint venture between two public research centers, Lippmann and Tudor. It was joint, the idea was raised in 2012, and it was officially signed end of 2014 for its creation, official creation, 1st of January 15. LIST now, in terms of numbers, it's a budget, yearly budget of 64 million euro. We are about now a little bit more than 630, about today 650 people, employees. Three quarters of 650 employees are researchers. We have more than 70 PhD students, and more than, in total, 300 research projects. The LIST is a RTO, research and technology organization, in, as I said previously, in materials, environment, and IT. There are three departments in LIST for these three domains of research. The mission of LIST is, the first one is contributing to Luxembourg's reputation through its participation in several research areas and participating in the country economic development. So, what do we do? We are an RTO managing research projects. Through all these projects, from the fundamental and applied scientific research, knowledge and competencies development, as well experimental development, scientific policy support to the Luxembourg government, and very important doctoral and postdoctoral training in partnership with universities, mainly, of course, University of Luxembourg. So here are the three departments of LIST. The first one is MRT, so with the domain of materials. MRT covers about 70 to 80% of the total project of LIST. The second one, ERIN, about the environmental, and IT, it is for the innovative services. So our partners, there are a few of them. As we said before, we are working with industries, so manufacturing, for instance, construction, logistics, but as well space. As well other RTOs, universities in Europe, in Luxembourg and in Europe. And we are in line with our research focus. We are managing different types of projects, competitive projects, collaborative projects, hosting of researchers, and as well prestation de service, so provision of services. We have in the MRT department, for instance, we have a group to do some material characterization, so for external industries in Luxembourg, but as well in Europe. We can do some specific studies. So that's what we call services. So where are we? We are located south of the country, south of Luxembourg. For people who don't know where is Luxembourg, is right in the middle of Germany, Belgium, and France. It's a small country, but very active country. We are now located in, so as I said, in south of the country. The offices are brand new. We are in Belval for about a year now. And so you have all the contact details on this page if you want to take contact with List.
Thank you. So a few words about the company. That's what your vision you have about what we are doing. So we are doing tires, obviously. So tires for racing, tires for next generation of cars, your tires for everyday, tires for trucks, tires for farm industry, and also tires for out of the road. In French, this is génie civil. So this is your vision about what we are doing, and currently this is our vision. So before joining the company, I was thinking that a tire was such a stupid black donut, and why the hell do I have to pay so much money for such a stupid product? At the end, I was completely wrong, because as you can see on the slide, this is a real high-tech product. You cannot sell it as an iPhone, but believe me, it's much more complicated, except for the hardware, because we don't have any hardware or software into the tire yet. So a tire is made of more than 50 raw materials with more than 20 production steps, so it's pretty much complicated. And for that, what we need, of course, we need engineers and PhDs. A lot of expertise is needed, especially in these 4 fields on the slide. So material science, numerical simulation, tire engineering, and innovative manufacturing, but also from purchasing and marketing, because with 50 raw materials, we need to have a strong people dealing with the suppliers to get the better product with a better price, of course. So at the end, what we need is you, at least some of you maybe. And for that, we have innovation center. So we have 3 innovation centers all over the world. One is based in Akron, Ohio, in the US, where our headquarters are located. Another one in Luxembourg, in the middle of Luxembourg, but the middle of Luxembourg, believe me, is very close to the south of Luxembourg. That's also why we are collaborating with the List. It's 25 kilometers maybe. And we have a development center in Hanau in Germany because GoodYear is also Dunlop. It's the same company at the end. So altogether, we have 2,500 people working in R&D and innovation. 2,500 over 67 people working for GoodYear all over the world. So I'm coming from this external science and technology team. We are there to set up some collaboration with external partners, so to bring innovation into the company. So far in 2016, we had 35 running collaboration with collaborative contract and so on, not services, but through collaboration with 25 public partners and 10 companies. And one of these collaboration in 2016 started with the LIST program. We are also engaged with Horizon 2020 Life Project, Marie Curie Action, FP7 before. I think we had so far altogether 10 projects, over 11 submitted. And also we are supporting the education for new talents. Sorry, we have a lot of master students, but also we have a lot of PhDs into the company. I think we had 13 PhDs working part-time in GoodYear and part-time in any kind of university all over Europe, and also some postdocs. So we started this kind of people program in 2009, and we had been quite successful as GoodYear standalone. So now let's talk about the reason why we are here, the partnership with the List. So as Sylvie mentioned before, this is a big partnership, but it doesn't start like that because we were located close to each other. It has been capitalized on past collaboration we had starting in 2010 and even a bit before. A bit before it was only short-term interaction like materials characterization, few master students and so on. And then you see on the slide in 2010 we started through collaborative program with 5 years time, but on very specific and targeted scientific problems. So it took some time to make the trust between the two organizations and to really dig into a bigger program because we found some possible interaction between the RTO and the company. So what we did a lot of technical assessments meeting, a lot of workshops to decide on which scientific topic we would like to work together, and then to write a kind of GoodYear list common roadmaps and to see what we can do in the next 5 years. And then it started with this joint framework.
So this partnership agreement has been officially signed by LIST, GoodYear and the Ministry of Economy the 17th of November 2016, and it will end middle of 2021. So it's a 5-year joint research and development program. It's funded by the FNR, so the Fonds National de la Recherche in Luxembourg, as well by the Ministry of Economy and by GoodYear and LIST themselves. So we are putting some money in this program.
Now you see that the partnership is really started because we do one slide together. So you see. As I said before, we decided to work on specific programs. 4 of them are dedicated to material science, and the 5th one is dealing with data science. So the 3 first programs from the top to the bottom are really dedicated to the creation of new breakthrough material that could be added into our innovative product on the slide you have seen before. The 4th one is dealing with the comprehension of phenomena, so the structural material analysis, thanks to the highly skilled equipment of the LIST. And the 5th one is dedicated to better use all the data coming from all our factory in a way that we can retrieve more information to get, let's say, better insight on our manufacturing and to improve it.
So how this program is structured? So what we call here at the bottom of the slide, project 1, 2, 3, is actually, so this partnership has actually 5 different programs, 4 on materials and 1 on data science. Each programs, so these 5 programs have some sub-programs called projects, and underneath we have some work packages. So in total we have 16 projects and more than 30 work packages, all of course in this partnership framework. It's not only Benoir and myself, fortunately. We have some people supporting the execution of the program. For each work package and project, we have some team meetings every month with people coming from GoodYear. Most of the time it's done at LIST, and of course with the researchers responsible for their own projects. We do that once per month, plus all the weekly and follow-up meetings. We have what we call executive committee. We meet 4 times per year. In this, the attendance of the executive committee is the people like Benoir responsible for the 5 projects, and as well the CEO from the LIST, so the 2 chairmen, LIST and GoodYear, and as well from GoodYear. And we have twice per year the steering committee. We had one 2 weeks ago. So in this steering committee, we are not only reviewing I would say the content of the project, but as well what was done correctly, what went wrong, what needs to be done in terms of HR. So we have this twice per year review at a high-level management organization. We have as well IP committee. IP is very important in the partnership. So before having an executive committee, we are discussing as well the IP because we can have a specific IP for LIST or GoodYear or a joint IP. So that is being discussed as well at executive level.
And in parallel, we have also this IPBG steering committee. IPBG is for the students themselves, because, as Sylvie mentioned before, it has been sponsored by the National Fund of Research, and for that, we had the chance, after a peer review and analysis, we had the chance to get 21 PhD sponsored by the National Research Authority in Luxembourg. So as we have only 5 minutes more, we'll accelerate a bit. So Berenice said that we have to accelerate slowly, so we will not accelerate that much. So the resources into the project, so the human resources.
So at GoodYear, it's 83 people. At least it's 88 people. FTE means full-time equivalent, so man-year for people who are used to man-year. So 88 man-year for on the GoodYear side and 64 man-year for list. As of today, so we have 30 PhD plus postdocs, 13 and 17. We have 11 different nationalities: India, Brazil, Spain, France, Germany, and so on. So not only Europe, but as well really America, South America, China. So 10 Europe and 9 non-Europe.
And on the technical resources, you see in the partnership, we really want to end up with true products. So we want to build some real tire, to test them, to build them, to analyze them, and to work also with other third laboratories all over Europe, which have some specific skills which could be interesting for the partnership. As I said before, for the sponsorship of the students, we went through a specific tool coming from the Luxembourg National Research Fund. This is IPBG, stands for Industrial Partnership Block Grant. So for that, we went through a peer review with different peers from all over Europe. They analyzed our proposal and they granted 21 PhD over the 30 of the partnerships. This tool is there for Luxembourg to foster the collaboration between Luxembourg companies active in R&D, of course, and public research institutions in the country. So for that, we have to develop a complete program with some outcomes, which are the following. We want to do some true publication. Some people, even though it's a private oriented program, we will allow all the students to publish during their PhD. We want to patent the discovery that we will do during the partnership. And also we want to prepare or to pave the ground either for LIST or for GoodYear for new hires in the future. Meaning that all these students or postdoc fellows are there as a pool of potential new hires for the company or for the list in the future. So there is a lot of expected outcomes, especially for the country, because as we said before, Luxembourg is small. If they want to, let's say, exist on the map, they have to go through this kind of big partnership and to show up that research in Luxembourg exists. But I've seen that you have seen also in the corridor with the LIH or the LISER that there is a lot of R&D and RTOs in the country.
So I mentioned before, this partnership has 5 programs. 4 are under this, what Benoir said, IPBG. The 5th one is data science, is outside of this IPBG program. So the 4 programs in materials, you have here, you can see an overview. So we listed before, so the first one is on the filer, polymer and additive technologies. And you can see here the number of PhD and postdoc per program. And the number 4 is a transversal. At the bottom of the slide is the advanced structural material analysis. This is the 4th program. And with a total of 24, 14 PhD and 10 postdoc.
So we have to recruit all these people. So we set up a very specific recruitment process, meaning that both our HR from GoodYear with the HR from the list, they set up a specific process because in the industry we've got other standards than in the RTOs. So we mixed up a bit our 2 processes to end up with one which could satisfy the recruitment into GoodYear, either or the recruitment into the list. So this was very easy. The HR were very well aligned. We had the first process at the list because at the end the student will have a list contract. Then our HR came later. We had a true analysis of all the CVs. We end up with 10 per position. And over these 10, we interviewed 3 or 4, depending on the level of expertise that was needed. So we did an internal sourcing in the different kind of website, like Euraccess, for instance. It was fully based on merit selection. So even if we are an American company, there was no ban of any country. So we had an interview with people from Iran or whatever, completely based on merit and, let's say, the matching with the scientific aspect. And then we had the selection committee after the interview that we can get into an agreement and to select the best candidate for the best position.
I will add one comment. So we mentioned we had today 27, 28 PhD. We will continue the recruitment process next year. We still have 2 or 3 open positions for next year. So if some people are interested, you can go to the list website and you will find the probably beginning of next year the open positions.
So now. On top of that, someone was mentioning this morning, how do people feel this kind of discussion with students? I think it was you probably, that was in the past. We never had this kind of things. At my time when there was did my PhD a long time ago, there was not this kind of event, no training, no transversal skills and so on. So in the frame of this partnership, we tried to set up a kind of training plan which could be very interesting for the students. So we will show you some slide right now.
So we made a proposal in terms of training in collaboration with the doctoral school from the University of Luxembourg. And you can see here on this chart, we have some some specific training, some common training to develop the skills of the different students. The training is done in collaboration with GoodYear, of course, but as well, you can see here on the top left with the University of Luxembourg. Some examples, for instance, in the common training, what we are proposing is project management. We've done that last week, so it was fresh. We have as well the presentation skills, how to have a good presentation. So all this, let's say, common training will help you not only for your PhD, but as well for your life after PhD and after postdoc. In terms of specific, so there will be, I take the first point, career development. So we will work with the PhD and postdoc to have a specific set of training related to the domain of the research.
And of course, we want to have a bit of fun. So beyond the doctoral school, we want to build a kind of cohort of with all these PhDs and postdocs. So it doesn't mean only eating and drinking beers. We want also to have a kind of annual PhD days, to do some kind of problem-solving session, a lot of transversal skills, but where all the PhDs and postdocs are present. They can share their experience, their trouble, if they feel comfortable, and so on and so forth. So this session will be done twice a year, internal, but also we want to share with outside. So they will participate to the Science Day Festival, to the researchers at school. We want to register our PhDs and postdoc to the highly specialized kind of rubber society, for example, in the US or in Germany. And also we want to introduce these PhDs and postdoc to our colleague in the US, which could introduce them into other partners in the other side of the Atlantic. So just a bit of more word about the content and the training offers. It's the same slide as Sylvie presented before with a bit more details. So as you see, on our side, on the company side, we really want to push them forward in the technical pathway, meaning that all the students will really have a strong insight on what is the science behind the tire, but also there are all this in-depth training related to the transferable skills or the soft skills that are now mandatory to make a good PhD researcher after his graduation.
So last slide, but not least, to summarize this partnership GoodYear list, what we try to do is, in terms of recruitment and PhD, is the creation of a pool of high-skilled students to become future permanent associates. So some of them will hopefully stay at least or at GoodYear. Long-term project to work, so we mentioned before it's a five years project on a very fundamental research, but to be applied on a concrete product, tires. Strong support in training, we just mentioned that before, during the program to prepare for research or industrial environment. Some people will not stay in academia, but will go outside of university or RTO to private industry. And high impact program with an international industrial relationship.
Hello, so I have one question for Benoit and Sylvie. It was about the training offer. I wanted to have more details about the format of the training, the duration, so for each training, who is delivering the training? Is it only the university or do you have speakers from GoodYear? And do you have also online trainings?
Okay, thank you for your question. We have trainings from the university, from the list, and from GoodYear. We have decided to split the training according to the competency of each others. So the duration depends on what kind of training we are talking about. For example, if you refer to the technical training, which are basic training like basic compounding, basic tires, and so on, this is 1 or 2 days. Then it gives the flavor to all the students what is tire engineering, what is global material science into GoodYear, and so on. And the advanced training, these are sessions all over the year, which are offered by our, highly skilled people, so our experts into the domain into GoodYear. This is 2 hours per week during 50 weeks as a maximum. The students will not be forced to take all these courses. They can pick up according to their PhD topic itself. But these courses are given by our highly skilled associates, which are also giving some courses in the US, in the Akron University. So we will pick exactly the same advanced training for our internal employees than for the student for the partnership.
I think there was a second question. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Jean-Marie Pincemain. I work as a national contact point for the Marie Skłodowska Actions, the European program. And especially the program with GoodYear looks like a very good Marie Curie program. So I was wondering if you had explored the possibility to maybe use this kind of device. And it's
So in FP7, we had, as I said before, we all together from FP7 to H2020, we submitted, I think, 11 proposals, and over 10 were accepted by the Commission. We are not better than others, but we are very selective on the consortium at the beginning. So that's the reason why we have a high success rate. And over these 10 which have been successful, 3 are ITNs or IIPP in the past. So we had 2 based on Marie Curie action in FP7 on noise technology, and the other one was more on snow. And we have a new one which is starting now with a consortium of 12 universities and 4 industry or private partners. It's an ITN, so it really looks like this one, as you said, but it's based on noise technology and it's fully international into Europe. It has been granted, I think, end of 2016.
it's very inspiring to see like big companies like yours adopt the same. I believe maybe it's the same practices in the industry, but the training, especially the training for PhD, is really what the Commission is looking after in applications to Marie-Skłodowska reactions. So, yeah, check those slides and get inspiration from this. That's good.
Thank you. It has been done with the list together. And also with the doctoral school from the University of Luxembourg. As we said before, we are 2,500 people working in innovation. In the past, it was a school of tire engineering, school of material science, but you know, the same blood gives not the best child at the end, so we have to change a bit and to onboard new people coming from new fields to work with other universities. So we did a lot. Let's say, to motivate people to come into our company by training them, the people on maybe on topics that they don't know after the graduation, because tire industry is not very sexy at the end. Middle of Luxembourg is not very sexy. South of Luxembourg is great, but middle of Luxembourg is not very sexy. So make people coming in the middle of nowhere to work on tires, that's complicated, especially for data scientists. And data scientists, they can work for Atos. It's pretty much funny than or Google or Apple than working for a tire industry which is doing some stupid donut, as I said from the beginning. So we have to motivate people to make them having a kind of trust into the company that they can bring the people forward and not only being picked and to work like in a world company and being like a number on the map and just a pin. So that's what we try to do. But thanks for your comments.
So we'd like to ask one, at least. You said you have regular meetings between your company and your research institute. I suppose it's the same also at Atos. How is the communication between academics people and industrial people going? And what kind of advice can you give to researchers to communicate better, maybe to industrial people?
For me, it's a bit special because I'm just coming from private in automotive industry, and I arrived in List 3 months ago. So, to be honest, I'm a mechanical engineer, and I'm now working in the material environment. So I'm a little bit lost sometimes. So I'm probably the exception, but. You need, for people like me, for instance, working with researchers who are so much in the details, they need as well to bring their level of expertise and experience, and they need to communicate to people like me who has close to zero experience in nano particles, for instance, in materials, to something they can understand. So it's not very easy. It's a difficult exercise, but it's as well an exercise that they will help in the future after their PhD when they need to go in a different industry to people who are not expert in their research domain. They need to adapt to the audience and it's why the communication and the level of details in that domain is very, very important. You need to adapt to the different audience or different attendees. And it's why in our meetings, it's why in our meetings, even if in some discussion they go in very much details. But the level of expertise of the different attendees is different. They need as well to communicate very clearly what is the target, what is about, so all the attendants can understand what we are talking about.
And on our side, it's a bit different because we are selling one tire every 5 seconds. If you imagine on a project where we are dealing with filler technology, so this is mainly silica, we need 2 kilograms of silica per tire. When we are discussing with the scientists from the list, which are not used of this kind of volume, they can do a brand new fantastic silica, but 5 grams. 5 grams, we cannot even do a testing. So we need to set up the objective and to let's say, push them forward to do a kind of upscaling and to see what the more affordable technology to make more volume. Sometimes it's really frustrating for some scientists because scientists, they want to discover something new and not something new that could be easily adaptable into a mass product. But so it's a journey to go through this kind of discussion. But that's why we went through 30 workshops before setting up the frame of the partnership, because we needed to align our needs versus the, let's say, the strong fundamental research and development that could be done at the list, but maybe cannot be applicable in a 5 years framework program.
Okay, then, so I suggest we do the break now, so 30 minutes, and then we go back here in this room at 4, and we will have the presentation also of ANRT. After the break, it can be included in the part doctoral funding schemes. That's why, if you don't mind, Mr. Gia, it would be better this way. So a 30-minute break. So we start again here in this room at 4. So coffee and tea is over there. Thank you very much.